Welcome back to Mama's Garage, everybody. Today I'm joined by Becca. I don't know your last name.
My last name is Mullens.
Mullens, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you like to tell everybody how we know each other.
Wow, what a complicated story.
I know. Well,
we met at Pizza, at Greek's Pizza.
That's right.
Here
at
in
pizza.
Martinsville.
At Pizza.
At Pizza.
Mm-hmm. I was a server, and you and your boyfriend Jordan were enjoying what was the pizza that I finished. Remember that?
Oh, that is how it started.
That's right.
I was like, I don't know, you were just like a vibrant, bubbly server, and we just clicked.
I think that's for my only table that day, too.
But that's right. We had a lot of attention from you.
Yes.
And I feel like, yeah, that was a fun time.
Because I was like, sometimes whenever I take the plates away, I'm like, I could probably get away with eating the pizza. And then you were like, go ahead.
we were literally just debating, do we take this one piece of pizza home with us, or do we throw it away? Because it's not enough to...
Lo and behold, you're like, we know a young man
wait a second,
with a mouth on him who's...
yeah.
I think we can get him to crack. And I did. And I ate it right in front of you guys.
Yes, but you were so... concerned and worried about it. You're like, I can't, you guys. I really can't. You really want me to?
I was like morally...
like, Luke, we don't know you, but... Yeah, you should probably just eat it.
We trust you with an eighth of this pizza.
Yeah, and that's how it started. And then we left, and we were like, wow, what a great guy.
That's very good. Because I kind of miss that job because I work at a completely different environment now. No customers at all. We're at Cook Medical.
That doesn't feel right for you.
Yeah,
I feel like you should be interacting with people.
Sure, but it's opened up, the availability to do stuff like this. By the way, guys, we're at the library in Morgan County right now. Martinsville. That's accompanied by the squeakiest chairs known to man. You'll hear that throughout the episode. It's fine.
Be like, what the heck is that?
Just know it's part of the room. We're in we're in study room 1 at Martinsville Library, and you can hear it. It might sound a little boomier than usual because my room is so. God, that's gonna be. I'm gonna pick a spot. We're gonna sit right here.
Wow, good luck. I'm gonna be moving the whole time.
Oh God,
because that's how I am.
It's fine. Maybe if I ever did ad breaks, then I would probably make that noise.
Every time.
Yeah, we'd be like.
Do you have a theme song?
I don't. I gotta get a theme song.
You have to.
Yeah, I've thought about. There's a podcast I listen to called Soder. It's just this guy's last name. He's one of my favorite comics, and it's just his intro is just like a drum beat, and I'm like, I learned that off the top of my head when I first heard it. I was like, I could probably do that.
You could definitely.
But then I was like, is that, too that feels like plagiarism? But if I write my own thing and record my own stuff, and then it should be fine. But it's totally influenced by that guy,
which is okay because have you heard? Is that my phone?
That was a big fan.
Oh,
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think my phone buzzed earlier as well.
But everything is a remix. Nothing is original anymore. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. This is
it can
the first.
Be influenced.
Welcome to the first
whatever.
podcast ever, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like all the ideas come from
That's
somewhere.
Right. That's very true. Yeah, and but I do need to get a theme song.
You should do like a drum beat and then just one joke as you are doing the drums, and the joke changes every episode.
That's a lot to put on me, but I have to buy a book of one-liners that aren't even mine.
Yes,
the remix.
That's right.
Well, there's a Weezer song off the Blue album called "In the Garage," and I'm like, that feels thematic.
Yeah,
but it doesn't feel like that Weezer wrote that.
Okay, just garage jokes then.
Yeah, just garage jokes.
That's it.
Just walk around my garage, just picking up random stuff. There's
something.
There's a punchline here, and we're gonna.
Mm-hmm. I think that'd be good. Our friendship started at
Greek's. At Pizza.
Pizza.
And then you became my regulars, you and Jordan.
We did, because we liked you so much.
That means a lot to me.
No, we liked the pizza so much.
That's okay. Well,
but every time we went,
package deal.
Yes, every time we went, we had hoped to get the whole experience.
That's right.
The great pizza and the Luke serving us. And we would get upset if you weren't there, which didn't happen often because we figured out when you were working.
I probably just told you. Yeah, it was usually I worked a double on Wednesday, then Friday and Sundays.
Yeah, it was great because usually the weekends, it was Friday or Sunday. We were like, I bet Luke's there.
Saturday they let me live. And then Monday and Tuesday was like my weekend, and I had like weird pocket a day. It was I really did not like that schedule at all, but because it's what's going on Monday or Tuesday night.
Nothing.
Everyone's home. They're eating like Lunchables in front of a TV or whatever. Whatever adults do.
That's exactly what adults do. It's true though.
One Oreo per day. But that was a lot of fun. And what, Becca, you had a really good idea of what to call this episode.
I did.
Yes.
We're going to call it a slice of friendship.
That's right.
Because it started over a slice of pizza,
That's right.
and now we're friends.
That's very true. Yeah, that is the parent function point of what happened.
That's right.
Now, explain to everybody, when did you come up with that? I know when you came up with that, in case you don't remember.
I don't remember.
I believe I told you about the podcast over Mis Amigos after the second time I went to CrossFit, which is a big part of your life.
Okay, I could not remember if you went to CrossFit once, if that was your only experience, or if you had gone.
You and I only went.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't there.
Yeah,
your first time.
I kicked a year off, and I was yeah, because I woke up in Bloomington that morning, and I had a race to Martinsville, which is 25-minute drive. But I woke up at like 9:30, and Jordan told me we'd be here around 10. And I was like, well, that gives me not a lot of time, and so I was a little late, and kicked it off.
And you showed up in jeans, right?
My pajama jeans. No, I definitely had shorts with me.
You did, because Jordan texted me. He said, Luke's late, and he's wearing jeans. And I said, does he know what he's doing today? But you had brought shorts.
Yeah, it was my.
You changed.
Because I wore my new True Classic T-shirt. It's like the dry fit one where it feels like a sweatpants, but it's a shirt. And then I had my red Reebok shorts, and I had my Adidas shoes on. And so basically, it was what they're called EMOMs, right? Every minute on the minute.
Wow, good job.
I think I'm good with acronyms.
Right. That is because it's what we call the hangover WOD.
Right.
Because it's the first day of the year.
Yeah. Luckily, I wasn't hungover, but it was. I was like, oh, if I can get through this, which I totally did, I was like, then everything else must be a cakewalk. I must be in perfect shape. I must be such an athlete. Who knew, right? The little band kid who tries to be funny was actually a perfect athlete who could totally swallow CrossFit, one bite. And then I went back to a real one.
To a real one.
Yeah.
The real workout.
Yeah. Which
what we really do.
Yeah, like 3 weeks later, you guys were like, let's break you in the real way. And I was like, okay, fine, let's do it.
And it was biking.
And
something else.
Everyone warned me. They're like, you're gonna throw up. That's how they said hello to me. They're like, you're a new guy. Oh yeah, you're gonna throw up.
Take it easy. Everybody says pace yourself. Take it easy. Go
and I was
less.
Like, guys, listen, I walked through that hangover workout like it was I can't.
And what
Jordan had me do pull-ups.
Listen, what made me mad was your second time. Jordan adopted your mentality of Luke can do anything. Luke is so ready for this, and he pushed you. He was coaching, pushed you so hard, and was like, you can totally do this. You're gonna go hard here, back off here, and then I really want you to send it at the end. Yeah, and I remember telling him Jordan, no. No, don't do this to Luke.
Right. Well, all right. Before I tell you why he might not be totally in the wrong. Well, I learned something about Jordan because I thought he was a pretty shy man for the most part.
Fair, yeah.
Right. And then he gets into coach mode, and I was like, oh.
It's Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, a
so
few layers got pulled back.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. I didn't realize. I'm like, this is. He's in his element right now. I had no idea, and I'm infringing upon. So here's why I'm not going to give Jordan too much shit about it, right? Because I showed up, albeit this was 3 weeks, maybe only a month after Christmas, and I had some remnants of festive cheer in the form of candy. In my room, and there was a weird, awkward amount of time between me getting off work that day and me going to CrossFit, and I was like, I definitely don't want to take a nap in between, and then totally miss it, and then ruin, my perfect slice of friendship. Absolutely not. And I missed the workout. It's calories I could have burned.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to drink coffee because I want to have an improper evacuation during the workout. So no, I was like, here's what we'll do. I'll eat a freakish amount of my Christmas candy and nothing else. Let that just churn, drive to CrossFit, and then change in that front room. Have everyone tell me, hey man, take it easy today. You're gonna die. It's basically what was told me. And I was like, don't worry.
Yeah.
I got Starburst to take care of me.
Yeah, I'm very well prepared.
So bring us back to the bike. Jordan was trying to fill out like where my comfortable RPMs were. He's like, we got to put you somewhere where like it feels like you're comfortable, but we can probably push you a little bit. So I was like, all right. He was like, how about you go around 45 to 55 range, trying to stay up in the up in the 50s, but if you go believe it's fine, right? So I did that. Passed with pretty flying colors.
Yeah, when you're fresh and
off the cuff. Yeah.
good to go, adrenaline.
So then,
you're excited to be there.
Yeah, and then he raises it to a whole other bracket of 10.
Yes,
he's like,
he
all right.
does.
He's like, well, now the 55 is going to be what you're trying to get away from. Now try to go to a 65. I believe I topped out at like 72 at the end.
Because in your head,
right? I was
you're like, I can do more than this.
Yeah, dude, I got.
I'm gonna impress you.
And to his credit, he did give me a lot of like mental power.
He did.
For sure.
He really, yeah.
But then I turned pale.
But then it was not good anymore. It was bad. And I said, take it easy.
Yeah.
And Jordan told you, absolutely not.
That's
You're
right.
going to push harder now.
And so, I was basing my, that second experience off the first one, which was just like, we're going to pick a little machine. It's like, oh, we're going to put you on the road machine, and you're going to do that for 1 minute. Then you're going to take a minute off, and then we're going to go to the pull-up bar. You're going to do 3 pull-ups, and then that's it for your minute. And you're going to rest for another minute. Recycle that. I was like, dude, that's CrossFit? Why is this a cult? I don't understand. I can handle this. So then I took that mentality to the second time, and I was like, okay, so we'll just bike for a little bit, and then you're like, oh yeah, then we're gonna do the shuttle run.
That's right.
Yeah.
Wow, what a terrible workout. Biking and shuttle runs? Those are terrible. People hate both of those.
Yeah, with my,
with all your
Starburst and I feel like it was something even worse than that. Like it was like a hybrid candy that they only keep for the holidays. Where it was like I don't know. I think it was like Starburst meets like Laffy Taffy because it was like elongated Starburst, and I was like, I'll just eat 3 of those. And I think I had some chocolate. Like it was just. I was like,
that all sounds bad.
I was like, yo, sugar is caffeine, right? That's just that was my idea. So I know, and here's the thing: I did not throw up, but I did make 2 separate trips to the bathroom. Thinking I was going to vomit.
This whole time I thought you threw up.
Yeah. Oh, I never did. I never did. I choked it down.
That's kind of worse, actually.
Yeah.
It's
I
kind
know.
of better just to get it out.
You'd think, right?
Yeah. You
But-
left looking terrible. And you were, of course, like, oh, yeah, it's great, guys. I just, pushed myself too hard.
Yeah.
You left, and I was like, Jordan, what were you thinking? I laid into him. I was so mad. I was like, he is new. I don't care if he works out at Planet Fitness. He does not know what this is.
I was going
you
to
did not
Planet
take
Fitness
care
for
of him.
2.5 years at that point. On and
Yeah.
off. But the part of the story we got to make sure we understand. We went directly to food. We went to go get Mexican food
Yes,
after
we
that.
did.
So I didn't leave CrossFit,
That's true.
Crawling to my car in the middle of January. No,
That's true.
We had a nice time. I was back to normal by the time I got to Mis Amigos, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, you just needed
It just felt like I got physically poisoned through physical exertion. And then I was like, all right, I guess, I don't know. A roast con pollo. That's fine. Well, I saved it, and I had such a good lunch the next day. I was like, dude, such a good workout. You can't see me. I'm doing quotation marks with my fingers. Had such a good workout the day before. Oh yeah. Well, anyway. Yeah, that's the foundation. I think that was the last time I saw you too.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I've been busy.
Yeah, because that's when we talked about you starting your podcast, comedy shows.
That's right.
You getting canceled. We talked about a lot of things.
I
that
did.
night.
Yeah, I led the conversation. I kind of felt I was like I'm kind of hogging up the night.
No, that's great.
Yeah, but I'm like,
I'm more of a listener anyway.
That's good. Yeah. I don't know if I've told the Mama's Garage audience about the full. Yeah, because I wanted to not like to take all of that baggage, leave that in October of 2024, and then. I'm not being like, I'm not being like, don't bring it up because I'll for sure talk about it in the right circumstance, but I'm trying to make sure I tread lightly where it's like, I don't want to stir that up again. And then on May 15th when it gets released, here comes the sequel. Season 2 of all that.
Yeah.
So
I did go watch it.
Oh, you did
after you told me
the
about
whole
it.
thing?
I did not watch the whole thing.
Good.
I watched enough of it.
Unprepared material.
It's okay.
I'll say one of the jokes I did, which was putrid, awful. It was something that I found in my notes app right before I went on. I was like, let me remember it real quick. I have this Asian buddy named Sam.
Yeah.
Short for samurai. And when I did that, I wrote that down while I was doing the dishes one day. I was like, dude, that is gold. Like you're gonna go on Conan. You're gonna make Conan come back from retirement, and you're gonna be the first guy. And I was like, oh, that'll be perfect. And then it got 0.
And nobody liked it.
Yeah, nobody liked it. Not even Sam,
Yeah.
who doesn't even exist. So like obviously I was not ready for that. But what it did do is it made me realize, I can do this. It just, it's very simple, just holding a microphone and just, having thoughts and projecting it. Mm-hmm. But
practicing,
I've since,
knowing your audience.
Right. I've since got better. I've since, I learned that is punching down, finding someone's, easy traits, just be like, oh, you're Asian? Well, here,
yeah.
4 million old, history. We'll put that under your name. It's like, yeah, that's not good. So I'm learning. Right. And then above all, I also made the bad decision. I feel like anyone listening to this knows exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm not hiding it from anybody. But point is, I dug some dirt on an old friend of mine.
An old friend.
An old friend. And this old friend did not receive it well. Neither did their mother or their significant other or their significant other's friends.
Or anybody.
Yeah, no one.
Nobody liked.
No one who left a comment was on my side.
Yeah.
Which made it really easy to sift through, like who was, guys who were, going to support me and all that. But listen,
I support you, but that was bad, Luke.
Yeah.
That was bad. And I'm glad you've grown.
Reading the comments, sure. But I had a lot of fun reading because, it's one thing because if comments will that's kind of the root of like a lot of the problems with like young kids. Because people, whether it be like they don't get enough likes on certain social medias, or it's like people will just say whatever on the comment section, and it has real weight. I was giggling in my room like, oh my god, I can't believe they said that, and I was like, well, here's the thing I should never do ever again. But I'll just I'll try to see the positive sides while it's happening. And then we'll just learn from there. And I'm like, then I can just always say, I got canceled immediately. Mm-hmm. Everything else after that has been post-cancellation. But
a lot of growth since then.
Yes, a lot of growth. It's been a whole 7 months probably since then. Still 19, still learning. Still a lot
Still a baby.
Yeah, dude. Still
just a baby.
Still a lot of things to learn. Not even in my 20s yet. We're getting there in July.
That's crazy.
I know.
Makes me feel old.
I'm not going to ask you how old you are, but how old are you? Not 19, that's for sure. But I forget. Did you?
I'm 30 now.
It's good.
Thumbs up. Yeah, thanks. I made it. I made it to 30. I'm okay.
I don't know what to say.
I'm all right with life right now.
Yeah, because I would hate to have an audience member be like, well, I'm really curious to see how old Becca Mullens is.
Of course.
Right.
They probably don't know who I am.
Yeah,
so.
Which I think.
But if they come to CrossFit someday, they will know.
They might recognize your voice and be like,
maybe. Be like, wait a second.
Oh, the 30-year-old.
The 30-year-old. You're 30.
Thumbs up.
Good job.
Oh, well, 30's a big deal. That's good.
It is, and I didn't have any weird, like a lot of people going on into their 30th birthday have a weird, like, breakdown and start thinking their life over and a lot of disappointment with themselves.
Sure, and that's...
I didn't feel that. Maybe a little bit, but...
Maybe just because of, just placebo, where it's like, oh, well, everyone else feels that way.
Well, yes, I think that's very much what it was. Mm-hmm. But I didn't like have any crying or big outbursts or anything like that. So,
When's your birthday?
September.
Okay, my mom and my dad are both September babies. January is a cold month, everybody.
Listen,
that's what I always hear.
It's true. My birthday is actually the most common birthday in the world.
September. 8th?
Are you just guessing?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, 9th actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh? Really? 9/9.
9/9.
95?
94.
94. Yeah, 94.
Yeah, I'll be 31 this year.
Ooh, that's a good year. It's a good movie year.
Is it?
Lion King.
Why do you
Forrest
know?
Gump. My body's 19 years old. My brain is much older than me. Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, Jurassic Park, all 5 of those movies. I think I saw a meme once or like a post where it's like all in October of 1994, which you would have been
weird.
Right. Yeah,
that's right.
You could have seen all those movies in a theater at one point.
Crazy.
And then also like Jim Carrey's The Mask came out that year, I think. And I think he had 3 movies that year: The Mask, Ace Ventura, Ventura, whatever. Yeah, it's I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
And then I think Dumb and Dumber came out that year too. Big year for Jimmy.
That's a good job, Jimmy.
Yeah, good. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Nice job. Good year.
I wonder if I can put an emoji next to the slice of friendship thing. Like I want that to go to all platforms.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, you guys can't see our thumbs at all, but
no,
they're up.
They're up.
Promise they're up. No, 94. Well, I was born 05.
That.
You would have been
don't like that.
Starting what, 5th grade that year?
5th grade.
That's cool. Well, does that mean?
Is it cool?
Well, because did you start kindergarten in 2000?
Yeah.
So that means
Well, yeah, it makes it very easy for me to remember.
Yes, because I started kindergarten in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you start kindergarten in a year ending in a 0, every year after that is going to coincide with the grade.
Yep.
It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
My mom did the same thing. She started kindergarten in 1980, so she graduated 1993.
Took her a while.
She was in 50th grade.
She worked hard though.
Yeah, no. She got her doctorate.
Did she really?
No. She went to law school for like
a
a few months, and then she was like, "Actually, I think I hate this. I think I just like SVU." Dun dun.
I was supposed to meet your mom.
That's right.
We were supposed to go out for dinner with your mom.
That's
the
right.
first time we went out.
I believe in January she got
dinner.
very, very sick in January.
I can't remember what happened.
I think she got norovirus.
Oh.
Yeah, not good. I had to call my friend Brianna because she's in nursing school. I was like, Brianna, she's rough, and she was like, yeah, she probably has nora. I was like, oh, what do I do? She's like, over the counter stuff. You just write it out. My mom's a trooper. She's a breast cancer survivor, so she knows what's going on.
Yeah.
She also had shingles on like my 8th birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And she has not to throw my mom under the bus. She just has like unfortunate health issues. I've always said.
Does your mom listen to your podcast?
She's been on the podcast before, but
does she listen to it?
I mean, she's a very busy woman. To quote Sabrina Carpenter, she's a very busy woman.
Yeah.
Not that she's not supporting me. No, of course not. She actually she bought me a camcorder for Christmas to make sure I could film everything. I just haven't used it yet. Well, I think I'm going to keep the podcast audio only because I like the fact I can just keep everything in a backpack.
You can hear the backpack.
You hear the hell out of that backpack.
And I bet you could do that and people would be like, yep, that's a backpack.
That's right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Like,
that's a classic sound.
Mm-hmm. Do it again. That's a book bag. Big old book bag.
I hate that. I hate calling them book bags.
I also hate calling it a book bag, but I already said backpack.
So much.
And it's some fun to kind of throw on synonyms. But
yeah.
She had norovirus. My mom.
Your mom. Yeah. I did not meet her. Yeah. Still haven't.
No, she's around. I promise. Yeah, but like I said, very busy woman. But yeah, she got very sick in January. I think that's why she wasn't there. I almost joined her that day because of the candy and the bicycle and the shuttle run. But
yeah, that was bad. But listen, you can come back to CrossFit.
I'm still recouping.
Anytime you
want. Open door. Yeah, I just want to feel like I'm mooching off you guys, and
You're not. We have like bring a friend days.
Okay.
We're gonna do Murph on Memorial Day. Have you done Murph before?
Murph. That short for like
Michael Murphy.
Oh.
He was a lieutenant in the Navy, and I hope I'm saying that right.
Okay, because I thought you were saying it like, Luke, you should know your Martinsville stuff.
No. I don't know anything about Martinsville, by the way. I didn't grow up here.
All right. How'd you get here?
I just moved
here.
I moved here like 3 years ago. I've been to the library quite a few times.
Oh, really? Good.
I get books here, Luke.
Where else do you get books?
This is where I come to get things to read.
That's good. Very nice. I think I own 4 books, and I've read 1.5 of them.
That is very sad.
1 1/3. It's okay. I can still read.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, and it's fun to read a book. I feel like that wasn't very convincing of me.
It's fun to read a book.
It's fun to read a book. Like a librarian has a gun to my head. It's like you can use the study room, but you gotta really
you have to promote.
Yes, we need people.
The books here. No, but listen, I just download books on this app called Libby, and that's how I get books from the library just right onto my Kindle.
Very good.
So I come in sometimes when I need a physical book.
Right.
But
the idea of reading a physical book feels so Abraham Lincoln, like.
Yeah, but it's nice sometimes.
He's like the old guy to everybody, Yeah, at one point he was the president.
For sure. He was.
Now he lives on the $5 bill forever and the penny. He's double featured, pretty cool. Not to mention the Lincoln Monument in Washington, D.C. or his big old face on the mountain in Mount Rushmore.
Wow.
He's one of my favorite guys.
Little
I
Lincoln
guess.
plug.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully he's listening. How the hell did we get to Abe Lincoln?
We're supporting libraries.
Supporting libraries. You don't know anything about Martinsville?
I don't, because I came here 3 years ago, but I know about the library.
From where? Forget.
Oh, El Paso, Texas. Technically is where I came from.
Is that really the answer?
It's kind of the answer.
It seems like,
I grew up in Indiana.
Okay.
I grew up in North Judson, Indiana, which is up north by Valparaiso.
You made both those places up.
Maybe Chesterton.
Oh, that's the third.
Plymouth?
Imagine, Plymouth
Plymouth.
sounds like it's real, but that could be in any of the 50 states.
Oh
Plymouth,
God.
Hawaii.
Okay.
I'm like,
I
okay.
mean, Plymouth, Hawaii.
North? I'm assuming northern, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a couple hours from Chicago.
Okay.
I mean, we're still technically a couple hours from kind of.
Anywhere is a couple hours from Chicago.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, depending how fast you go.
Yes.
But I know, but the most convenient amount of couple hours from, yeah. Like, so
Yeah.
near the dunes. I've been to the dunes before.
Yes, very close.
Okay.
Very close to the dunes. Close-ish
Fort
to
Wayne
Gary.
is like kind of like the biggest place around there, I think. Fort Wayne-ish.
Lafayette
Okay.
probably is
That makes sense.
closer on
Purdue.
that side. Yeah, Purdue.
I see.
So yeah, that's where I grew up, and then lived in Huntington, which is very close to Fort Wayne, because that's where I went to college, and then that's where I started teaching, and then I
forgot you're, yeah.
I'm a teacher. Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
When I'm not doing CrossFit, I'm teaching elementary kids how to read.
Oh, that's why you like book. Full circle.
And I got married, and you did not know that because of the face you're making. I mean, we've hung out once before. We don't know anything.
Yeah,
really.
I used to work
We
for
know
you,
little
kind of.
things. Yeah, I used to like tip you.
Thank you.
But
by the way.
I got married. He was in the Army.
Uh-huh.
He was based in El Paso, Texas.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
So then I moved
How
there.
did they get from your 3 imagination towns to El Paso? And then
Which
all of a sudden
you know is a real town.
Yeah, I know El Paso's real, but
It's very real.
Plymouth might be real. And you said what, Huntington, and then like
Yes.
Jibber Jobber
North
town?
Judson, yeah.
That's close enough.
I mean-
North Judson. And then what was the first one you said?
North Judson is the first one I said.
And then there was a second.
Valparaiso.
Yeah, Valparaiso. That sounds like a Nerf gun.
Luke, have you gone anywhere outside of Martinsville?
Yeah, I work in Spencer. I hang out in Bloomington. That's one
You've been
tri-town area.
Yes.
I've driven to Indianapolis before. You know, I've not. It's
okay,
listen,
if you
I'm
just
young.
keep going
all right?
a bit.
Yeah, I've only had a driver's license for like 2 years, 2.5. It'd be 3 years.
Surely it's.
It'd be 3 years in June. So I'm also always working. So it's hard to get around.
How is work?
Work
Let's
is
talk
good.
about
but
work.
I don't want to get
Okay.
they'll hear about work stuff. Yeah, I can tell you all
That's
about
fine.
that. That's really boring stuff. I handle catheters all day. Not the kind you think. Catheters are much more than urethral. I found out. I don't even think we even have those. To be honest, at least my department doesn't. I work in women's health.
Wow, congratulations.
Women don't have
you.
urethras. That's what I was told.
That's what I was told.
That's what I was told in health class. Oh, for real
That's
though.
great.
Shout out to Jade Johnson. She's one of the girls I went to Paragon with. I knew her all through school. Her and I were sitting next to each other in health class in 8th grade, and she found out the same moment that I did that girls have 3 holes.
That can't be true.
I swear to God.
I don't believe you.
Swear to God.
Call her up.
I haven't talked to her in a while. Actually, last time I saw her was at
Hey,
Greeks.
quick question.
She'd for sure remember. I would no doubt, but I don't. It'd be a lot of back explaining to be like, I'm doing a podcast in the library. Shout out books. Hey,
Love books.
Yeah,
Let's all read more.
I don't know where she is at this time. She might be at a meeting. She might be doing someone else's podcast, which would be really fun to have crossover like that. But point is,
women have 3 holes.
El Paso.
El Paso.
El Paso. The Paso.
The Paso. I was there for a year though.
Okay.
So
that's all right.
Not a lot.
Okay. Well, earlier you said, technically I'm from. You said you came from.
When people ask me how did I get here, I never know what to say.
You're like plain. I don't know.
I'm like, well, I was married to a douchebag and came here. Well, technically, because when I came back, I lived with my parents in Bloomington.
Okay. See.
Then I got my teaching job.
Been there a few times.
So that's a real place.
Yeah.
And then after a few months, I was looking at apartments, too expensive.
Right. Yes.
And then my dad was like, hey, why don't you try and buy a house? And I was like, if I can't afford an apartment, what makes you think I can buy a house? And he's like, well, actually,
and then
you probably can.
Uh-huh.
And I did.
That's
could
awesome. Mm-hmm.
in Martinsville.
Right, but like it's
not
more affordable, but
very affordable.
Easy commute to Bloomington, and plus you don't always want to be there because like they're all moving out right now because it's early May.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I really also like not living in the same town that I work because every time I go to Kroger in Bloomington, I see a student, somebody from my school, and I don't want to talk to anybody that I know ever, unless it's here and I know him from the gym. Then I'm like excited.
Right, exactly.
But like people from work, I just feel weird when they see me in like normal.
I don't think I've ever seen someone. Albeit I've only worked at my place for like 5 months, but yeah, I work in Spencer, but I like exist both parts, Martinsville and Bloomington. Yeah, my only 2 places on earth. You know, my world's only so big.
I've learned.
There's only 3 highways. And they're all connected, and my house is right in the middle of that. Luke Land. What the hell even is Idaho?
You need to go on. Have you ever been on a vacation? Now I'm like concerned you haven't been other places.
For sure. Actually, I was in New York last fall. I mean, I've been places. Okay, we went to Canada on accident once.
How does that happen?
Well, my mom was like, we should go see Niagara Falls. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, cool. Great. What is that, like the one where, where people like commit suicide in like the barrels? It's like that's the place. I'm like, that's really sad.
Oh my God.
But we're gonna enjoy the better parts of it. I was like, okay, fantastic. Mm-hmm. She accidentally, God bless my mother, she accidentally booked the hotels on the other side of the border, which happened to be the way better view of the falls.
That's what I hear.
For sure.
This is crazy that we're talking about it because I might go in October
to
Niagara Falls, but the Canada side.
Right, you should because it's it's worth it because it's very big.
You went from the Canada side.
Yeah, and we just smuggle ourselves.
That's my next question. Yes. How did you get there?
So I was just had like some earbuds in, playing Angry Birds back there. This was 2016. To me that's history. Wasn't making a lot of important memories back then. This was the summer that the Olympics were in Rio de Janeiro.
I'm impressed that you remember these things.
I'll remember that. I'll tell you why I remember that.
Okay.
I just know the Olympics were on in the hotel room.
Mm-hmm. In Canada.
Yeah, but when we got to Canada, we're just driving, and we had the directions up on Google Maps, and then we're like, I think this is in Canada, and I was totally oblivious. Next thing I look up, we're at a toll booth, like the kind of not like state to state border ones, like toll booth, badge. And the guys wearing a badge, and then all of a sudden,
your mom was just like, "Oh, let's see what these guys want."
Yeah, my mom was like, she had to lean over like the console, was like, "We know their social security numbers." Verbatim what she said. I was like, yeah, these are my mom and dad. Like, I had to confess that. Like, an official officer was like, "Are these your parents?" I was like, "Yeah, yes." and I was like, Luke, you better not act like you're lying right now. And I feel like that of course, most certainly they were my parents. Like, absolutely. Like,
yes, but then you're a little bit nervous. That,
yeah. So it feels
am I lying?
Yeah, right. I'm like, yeah. I mean, they. As far as parents go in my brain, they've been the same people. I'm like, but I mean, I don't have any birth record. I wasn't conscious from my birth. So I mean, I was a C-section. How about that? Here's some of that knowledge. And then they're like, yeah, your kid's awkward enough. You guys are fine. Go ahead.
This tracks.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So then we just got over there, and then that was the first scene in the lobby of the Canada Hotel. A really nice hotel. There was a self-playing piano.
Love those.
Didn't know those existed. I was like, Canada's pretty sick, dude. That's what I thought.
Canada knows what's up.
I saw just like
high tech over here.
I basically took like just a little lick off the crust of what is Canada. I was like, yo, they got real, the ghost pianist over there, and then big waterfalls. Pretty nice, pretty cool. So I've been to Niagara Falls,
and you got back just fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we went the opposite direction.
Yeah, Mm-hmm.
So I guess I drove through New York that time, but I didn't see any of the cool parts. But then my mom turned 50 last year, and so this was like my first adult trip because I like funded myself. It was myself, my mom, and then her friend Stephanie, who my mom's name was also Stephanie. So Stephanie Squared and me. And so my mom's been in New York plenty of times, but she went for her 40th birthday, and then I was 9 at the time, so I was like, probably not. I have a spelling test to study for.
Right.
You go have fun, Stephanie. But this time I was like, hey, I can go. And it was really cool. I saw all kinds of stuff in New York. And I'm trying to cross off certain parts. I've been to Nashville a few times. Saw a concert there when I was 13. 21 Pilots, my first concert.
Wow.
Big time. And then my mom also has friends down in some neighboring small town area from Nashville. Her name's Emily and Joey. Those are her friends' names. It's 2 separate people, not just her full name. Emily, hey, what's up, Emily and Joey? Just one person. So we also saw the Country Music Hall of Fame that time, which was fun. Also saw the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland. Wow. That was like a lot of fun. But I was busy with band stuff forever all through high school, so like I could have been going places, but I'll explore the world when I have the means to do so.
That's right.
But I don't think I've gone anywhere. Oh, I went to New Orleans as well. So yeah, I've been places.
You've been places.
Yeah, I appreciate the concern.
You've been places.
Because now that I go back on it, Myrtle Beach twice, Cedar Point twice.
There we go. Cedar Point.
Cedar Point's fun, dude.
It is. We went for a field trip when I was in high school.
Do you know who Dak Shepard is? He has a podcast.
That's the only podcast
really?
I listen to.
Well, because he's a big Michigander. And
he sure is.
And so of course, Cedar Point's in Ohio, but it's not too far of a trip from Michigan. I think they'd also go to Kings Island too. I think there's also a Six Flags in Ohio. Ohio's it gets shit on too much. I think Ohio's a pretty good state as far as Midwest goes.
Sure.
I think it's good. There's a lot of. All right, fine. You know every bit about Indiana and a little crumb of Texas, and now you're just shitting on Ohio. Texas. Fine. That's fine. A little El Paso, a little free sample.
And I was there during COVID too, so
that
didn't really do much either.
Yeah. But Texas is big though.
It is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was told though that I didn't really live in Texas because I was in El Paso, and El Paso is not very Texas-like. Yeah, but they get all like
prideful about it. Texas is its own country anyway.
It feels like it.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
What I hear. Hear that little the car outside? That's nice. Little acoustics.
I wonder if they heard it.
I bet they did. I heard it. I probably heard it with my ears, not my headphone ears, but
yeah.
Oh well. Something I wanted to talk about for no reason at all.
Great.
Was do you know anyone who's a flat earther?
Oh God.
Do you know any like real life flat earthers?
I don't think so.
Because they're basically like unicorns, so in terms of like mythology. Is that the
yes.
word? But I've met one. Would you like to hear about it? About him? It's a guy.
Yeah. I'll ask questions after you tell me all the details.
It's not a guy. I don't keep his name anonymous.
You work with him?
I don't.
I
don't work with him.
How did you meet this person?
So my old cover band, Pants.
Yes, I know about Pants.
We played this was the summer right after I graduated, which was long ago in 2023.
Yikes.
It'd be 2 years ago this June and July as these concerts took place. But basically, took my drums and everyone else's instruments to the courtyard right outside of Greeks, and we would play some cover songs, play some shows, invite some people out. It was very fun. And then every now and then some people would just kind of walk up who just heard the music, was like, go check that out. And this guy who is a friend of my buddy Ethan's mom, so it's a very loose connection. So I don't think I've ever talked about him in that situation or instance at all. But I just do know that he wasn't just a total stranger. He lives in town.
He had some credibility. Yeah. He knew a person.
Credibility.
He knew a person you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was very supportive. He sent me here's why I know why he knew my friend Ethan's mom, Lauren. Here's why I know he knew Lauren. Because he sent me a video of myself on Messenger, which isn't a good way to lead a conversation.
Like he recorded it?
Yeah, but it was me. It was at a performance. It wasn't just like,
that's okay.
Right. I wasn't just like pumping gas. It was like, yo, is that you? I was trying, I was trying to get people's attention playing, Ball Big and Bad behind my drums. And so he filmed from behind because that's where he was watching, I guess. But he was like, hey man, great job. So I was like, it's this guy. Like, I had no idea. So I click on his profile. Mm-hmm. I scroll through, and boy, oh boy, found out he really loves his daughter. Like, that's such a sweet thing about him. Good dads is a good stuff. I want to be a good dad one day.
I mean, you know that based off of his social media profile.
That's true. But he
doesn't mean anything, really.
All right, he
might not have a daughter.
He seems to. Okay.
Anyway, go on.
That's true.
Sorry.
That's true. It's right. It is. I have to make sure I don't always just believe whatever I see on my phone screen. But what I was led to believe is that like he definitely cares about his daughter enough to put her on blast a lot. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then it got a little weird because I saw that he had an ankle bracelet on. I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not his daughter. Maybe it's the mom's daughter, and he just knows the daughter. But of course, it's like the biological relationship. But like visitation is limited. That's what I figured, right?
Sure.
Because of the ankle bracelet. That's not even the worst detail. I already led with flat earther. We'll get to that in a minute. But he, which I've heard this is a crazy phenomenon. But what he did that made me go like, you know what? Probably don't want to meet this man in person. He took a picture of a cheeseburger he had made and slathered it with peanut butter. Have you heard about this? Peanut butter on a burger.
This is a thing?
Yeah, it's apparently a thing. But what he did is that he put raw onions on top of that as well, and then put a top bun on, and then enjoyed it. Because the picture he sent to his Facebook was a cross-section of the burger, not from a knife, but from, carnivorous type bites that he took out of the burger. All it was just a barely seasoned patty, probably done like medium well. So it's like there's no pink in there, there's no juice, there's no flavor. There's this brick of little hockey puck burger, peanut butter, and then raw onions. That sounds like a joke sandwich.
Sounds terrible.
Where it's like, ooh, I dare you to eat this sandwich.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like.
Maybe it was. And then he was like, actually, we're onto something here. So
it goes to supposed daughter.
Yeah.
Ankle bracelet. That goddamn sandwich. And then I was like, oh, to top it all off, he's a flat earther. And he was like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Like, and he just was
like, you're learning all these things on his profile.
Yeah, like this is what he leads with. This is what he has people learn about him. Like,
yes.
This is what he wants people to know.
Yeah.
So there's only so much that I can, I can hear from the.
For sure.
Yeah, and so he just I couldn't fathom how you can even just come to the conclusion. It feels like you want to be just like a little brat about science, right? Yeah. Where it's like, I know you've done all the research. I know you've done all these tests that have, I know it's been believed for most of everyone's lifetime on Earth. I guess that's not true at all. I guess in modern science, that's a totally broad thing I just said. But like, it's been proven recently. And now everyone's like, yo, maybe not. I want to just throw a globe at their head and just be like, yo, catch that. What does that feel like?
Well, they think it's so cool to not think what.
Yeah, they think they live on a dinner plate.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. I just find it so bizarre. But here's where it gets crazy. At this time that he discovered who I was working at Walmart, which means I was just bait to the public.
Yep.
So he sees me at Walmart when I'm on a little pick walk. This is 2 jobs ago.
Yes.
Using old vocabulary, but it's what I was doing on a pick walk.
Yep.
And he's like, hey! I was like, no. So I keep my composure because he's obviously a low IQ adult. I can't like poke fun and be like, well, are you? I don't want to just ask the questions I wanted to ask. Where it's like, what book do you read to shout out books? What book do you read to come?
Don't forget, this is all about books.
That's right. What else? Why else would we be in the library? Sanctuary. But I had a very He had to tell me how much he enjoyed me drumming live. I'm like,
excellent.
I'm like, exactly. It's a good word. I was like, it's very excellent. But it was just such a bite my tongue interaction where I was like, dude.
And you're like, I know so many things about you.
Yeah, it's like you have one sock on right now and you have no choice. You can't go put your, go to the beach and put your hands in the water. Because first of all, ankle bracelet is going to be, in a short circuit. But also, you don't have the range to even get to the beach.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. So anyway. I just want to know maybe if you had any flat earther encounters.
No,
it's
my
online.
ex-boyfriend got really into conspiracy theories, but I think it was in the way that he thought they were interesting. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he didn't really believe them.
The one that think
he
about.
Just liked the
creative.
Yes.
Maybe.
Right.
Part
the
of
curiosity where it's like
so much that
if this is true, this is so big. Yeah.
And he has fun like had fun with the back and forth with it.
That's fun. I understand.
And I'd be like, could you just not though?
I had I had a conspiracy phase in 6th grade. It was the dumbest conspiracy.
In 6th grade?
Yeah. I was early to it. So I'm gonna check the time. It's currently 6:27. So I know time flies by.
A few more minutes.
I know.
We'll have to have a part 2.
For sure. I'll put you on the list for the sequels. But what was I saying? 6th
You're
grade.
6th grade.
Yeah, the dumbest. Yeah. So right around 6th grade, I was closing in on a year of having Wi-Fi at my house because I live like in the woods. I have cows as neighbors. All this stuff, right? So we didn't get Wi-Fi for a while. So then I had to catch up a lot of YouTube culture by the time. And when I was in 6th grade, it was before I was playing drum set, but I was playing drums in school, and I was really musically inclined. Hadn't found the love for it yet. But I loved the Beatles. I loved, AC/DC. I loved Led Zeppelin. All these old classic bands that like my parents knew and they got me into. And so I got into this really bizarre Paul McCartney conspiracy where in 1966 on the way to the studio to record, I don't know, maybe Rubber Soul, one of their albums, he died in a car accident. But he's a Beatle. He can't, you got to replace him. Right? Mm-hmm. Maybe not John. He can get shot in the face and who gives a shit. But but Paul, it's the prime time of the 60s. So the conspiracy was that on the cover of the Sgt. Pepper's album.
Yeah,
there's a on like the lower right hand side, there's a bouquet of like yellow flowers that spells Paul. So loose. It was like memoriam, but Paul's on the cover and he performed with him later. How did they replace Paul? I'm glad you asked, Becca.
Oh God, I think it's time for me to go. Sorry.
They hosted a Paul McCartney lookalike contest.
This is what 6th grade Luke believed and shared with everybody who would listen.
I shared with my cousin Garrett. And I didn't share with everyone. I wasn't confident.
Just your poor cousin.
No, he was like on board with it. He was like, "Oh my gosh," because we were in his living room like watching YouTube on the TV, which at the time was like crazy to me that you can watch YouTube on the TV.
Right.
I was like, "This is wild." And then there was I think in the song "Strawberry Fields," I think which is off of the Sgt. Pepper's album. Well, maybe the Walrus one. I don't know. Mm-hmm. No, I think it's on the Come Together Abbey Road. Doesn't matter. One of those. Oh, there's also Abbey Road stuff as well. I'm going over the place. One of these albums. The Strawberry Fields. There's a little snippet that if you play in reverse, it says like Paul is dead.
I think I've heard that one before.
Yeah, where I was like, what? So then that.
Did you do that though?
Yeah,
did you listen to
it so we did. Snapchat has like the feature you can like scroll. We could we like to do that. We like to say cuss words backwards and then play it backwards and have it say speak cuss words to us. That was fun. We invented that basically. Never been done before. Welcome to the first podcast.
Yeah.
We tried to, we had a crazy big, revelation. And then I was holding a grudge towards the current Paul McCartney. I was like, you faker, bro.
Yikes.
Leaving what probably was like your whole family to be this guy who died in a car accident. Little did I know that is ridiculous. But 11-year-old me was convinced for probably 3 days.
3 days.
I swear.
And 19-year-old Luke is like, man.
Kicking, that's only almost like I've done a lot of growth, a lot of hairstyles since then.
Thank God for growth.
A whole round of braces and a whole round of retainers.
Yep.
The pandemic happened,
Yep.
There's been all the John Wicks happened between then, probably maybe 2 or 3 of them, whatever. I'm trying to think of a better example of maybe 4 Mission Impossibles.
So many Avenger movies.
Yes, I should have led with that.
Many.
Right. God, the MCU. So many. But when you say conspiracies, like that's the only one I ever dove headfirst into, and I would like to, document it now and just never do it ever again. It ruined the Beatles for a week.
That's really
And
unfortunate.
then I was like,
actually.
well, the odds of him never getting caught, I feel like I would have heard about this by now. And then they just let John Lennon die.
Yeah, like Paul's the one who we need to replace.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh,
Maybe it's because Paul could be replaceable, but like John Lennon, we would have known.
well, I also think it's like the way Paul died was like, privately had a car accident supposedly.
Yeah.
But then it was more like, I think it was like in front of an apartment and just gun to face. Wasn't gonna.
That's fair.
You weren't gonna cover that up. They're like,
Yeah.
just so happened, there's a John Lennon lookalike contest next Tuesday. It's like whoever wins gets to go on Ed Sullivan. So luckily I've grown up. And we're okay now.
Good.
Yeah, I like the Beatles again.
I love the Beatles.
Very good.
Yep.
But I don't know if there's a deleted scene from Pulp Fiction, which came out in 1994, the year you were
That's
born.
right. Good year.
There's Mia Wallace is talking to Vincent Vega, and she's like, "Are you an Elvis man or a Beatles man? And you can't pick both. You got to pick one or the other."
Yeah.
And I was like, I probably am a Beatles guy. Mm-hmm. But then when the Elvis movie came out with Austin Butler a few years ago, I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm a Beatles or an Elvis guy. Because Elvis is so much cooler, and he's one dude who had similar impact.
He's cool, but kind of a jerk.
14-year-olds. Not good on paper.
Know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, no, you're right. No, I'm not going to try to fight that.
I mean,
damn.
You should always choose the Beatles. I think.
Yeah.
Always.
Maybe you're right.
Sorry, Luke.
No, it's okay. Elvis is dead.
However, I'm pretty sure Paul McCartney's not.
No, he's still kicking. Him and Ringo are the only guys. Been
That's
a
right.
long gap. I'm pretty sure George Harrison died in 2001. I believe he died of battle of cancer, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. So at that rate, we're due soon.
Don't. No. Now you've said it. Now it's out.
Oh, yeah, now it's broadcast to 9 people. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's not like they were immortal until I
It's
said
not
that
like
out loud.
I follow their lives or
Yeah.
their music closely anymore.
It's okay.
At all.
But
so.
I used to prank people, being like, "Hey, did you hear the Queen died?" Being a little Hoosier myself. The Queen had a big impact in my life. But this is like back in 2017. This is after my Beatles era. But I'd be like, "Hey, the Queen died," and then I felt so bad when she actually died.
You're like, oh, I can't say that anymore.
I was like, oh man, it's my fault. I killed her with words. That sucks.
I've been manifesting this the
Right,
whole
but
time.
she was like 98 or something. Oh, whatever.
Yeah, I think she was though.
Mm-hmm. But let's see. John Lennon died in 1980. George Harrison died in 2001. So that's 21 years. So Ringo and Paul, one of those should have died in 2022, right? Which means whoever dies first, that means the other guy gets like 2 more decades to be a Beatle, be the last Beatle.
Wow.
Think about that.
What a legacy.
You have 10 minutes. Any closing statements?
Oh my God. I don't even know. Where do we go from here?
I don't know, man.
I do think Bigfoot is real. Do you?
I don't think it's too far-fetched. I feel like it's...
Okay.
Yeah, because...
Like of all the...
Yeah.
Magical...
Right.
Not magical.
All those guys.
Of all the creatures.
Yeah, because first of all, it's like a gorilla guy,
Yeah.
So I feel like he's in the family. Mm-hmm. And I bet because someone had to have seen it like a few times, and then it happened to a few other people as well, and then all those stories got around eventually, and they all like, oh, then it's yay high,
right?
Harry,
those stories don't just happen.
Or they could have just been, I don't know. It feels like a general beast, but there's like the show. There's like the show.
There is.
Yeah.
It's like Finding Bigfoot. Or something
I believe
like
so.
That, where they haven't found Bigfoot,
Yeah.
but I think he's out there.
It's like during the actual filming of it's called Finding Bigfoot, and then whenever they like season finale, it's like, what do you think's gonna happen? It's like, we're gonna have to change all the DVDs to We Tried to Find Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Damn.
We tried.
Damn. Well, I have a guy who was actually on the comedy show on May 16th, which this will be out right before that. So plug
That's
that
right.
show.
Come on out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Groggy Go.
Tomorrow.
Although I don't know if you can Get tickets at the door.
We should be able to. Doug said that he's like, oh, we're going to have them all sold by then. Trust me. It's my Doug voice.
Okay.
I was like, okay.
I don't know Doug, but it sounds like a Doug.
Doug Henselmeyer. I call him, he's like the Ace Hardware cat of the Greeks building.
Aww.
You just don't touch him, but you'll eventually see him one place or another. But yeah, anyway, Jack Layden, he's a second comic that I have booked for that. He's going to go on second. He just wrapped up his studies in anthropology. So if he, as far as I know, he has a lot of jokes about monkeys. And so as far as I know, he's probably going to be our Bigfoot consultant.
I can't wait.
Because he moves back to Chicago eventually soon.
Let me pitch something to you.
Please.
How about we forget Mama's Garage and we just have a podcast about finding Bigfoot?
Where we sit down.
But it's terrible because we're just talking about finding Bigfoot.
If we were to go about finding Bigfoot, here's where we would start.
And that's the whole podcast.
I guess so.
I think we could get far. We could have experts on.
Yeah.
About Bigfoot.
Bigfoot experts. There's an episode of iCarly, which did you?
Yes, I'm not that old.
Okay, well,
I'm only 30.
Yeah, no, I know, but so I'm just trying to do the math. So
but I don't know how old I was when iCarly was a thing.
Well, you were born in 94.
Yeah.
So you would have been 14 whenever the first episode.
So I was in high school.
Yeah. But still, it's a timeless show. It's very good. I love Spencer Shea. But there's an episode where they go find Bigfoot because they have a guy on the show. I forget his name, but he has a book about finding Bigfoot. It's called Bigfoot: True or Real.
That's a podcast.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And I had that episode on my DVR, which is a really old acronym.
Do you know what it stands for?
Digital video recorder.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
I actually don't know.
Get the hell out of here. I think it's, yeah. What would you argue with those words at all?
Not at all.
Okay, great. Well, on my digital video recorder, I had the episode, and Spencer, who's just my favorite character in the show, he was not trying to find Bigfoot. He was trying to find the beef coon. And he said it 3 or 4 times in the show, but he was like, the beef coon, head of a beaver, body of a raccoon, sounds like... that's blasted into my brain. I can't. And it's a very good episode. Turns out they don't find Bigfoot. Matter of fact, the guy, spoiler alert from 2010, the guy who wrote the Bigfoot True or Real book was in the woods when they were trying to find Bigfoot. Oh, and he dressed up as
pretending
Bigfoot.
To be Bigfoot.
He was about medium foot.
His whole career is riding on Bigfoot being true or real. So.
Absolute joke. But then they leave us on a cliffhanger because they make sure that the Bigfoot believers are taken care of. Yes. Because when they come back to the campsite, where the RV that they took to the campsite was supposed to be parked. That's a long sentence. When they went back to their RV, it was gone. And you get this big, wide pan-out shot of the RV going down the highway, and you hear a Bigfoot howl coming from, wherever they recorded it, to insinuate Bigfoot hijacked the vehicle and drove away. I rest my case, Becca.
Bigfoot's real.
Bigfoot found
and true.
I believe he sold the RV on Marketplace. And what do you think Bigfoot's currency would be called?
Bigfoot's currency?
Yeah, because what's he gonna bid the RV for?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, that was more of a open to. I thought you'd riff on that, but it's more my job.
Yeah, I'm not the riffer here.
I couldn't think of an idea.
That is not me. So you're like, let's see what Becca has.
Just
I don't know.
You failed.
I'll think about that.
Bigfoot's currency.
You gave me a hard thing.
Yeah, because there's a lot because you gotta find a funny pun for pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and dollar bills.
Right.
And you don't think Bigfoot would us Americans, we have a $1 bill, a $2 bill every now and then, $5 bill, 10, 20, 50, 100. Actually, this is a good way to segue to this, and we'll probably end around here. The last time I went to the bank, I went on a Saturday morning before going to Planet Fitness. sorry to cheat on CrossFit, but I had to, I was taking care of my Saturday morning body. But I was like, I'm going to go run some errands. Did not sound like it was fine, but you're trying to, it's fine.
It's not.
No.
But you'll be back.
My dad takes care of my car insurance, like at the place, but I give him the money for it. So I'm financially backing that whole thing, but I just give him cash, and so I'll be like, I went to the bank and I was like, I need so many amount of monies. That's what Bigfoot would call monies.
Just monies.
How many monies do you want for this RV? No, she asked me how I wanted the bills back, and I was like, I would like one $200 bill. One $200 bill, ma'am. And then she found that to be very funny, and she cracked her ass up. It was good. It was very good, and I threw her for a loop. It was very fun. And then we were trying to think like who would belong on the $200 bill.
So this is your interaction with
this nice bank lady.
Gosh, I wish I had your social skills, because when I go out and interact with people, I just try to get the heck out of there.
Like, am I allowed to have any money from my account?
Can I do this? I'm nervous.
I forgot my wallet in El Paso. I have to go to El Paso to get my wallet. I don't have my ID on me. Yeah, no, that was it lit my day up, and I was like, ooh, little funny riffs with the lady at the bank. She was like at least 60. She was retired. Her bank was her little side hustle. She comes on the weekends to give her something to do, I think, because I never saw her before.
Yeah.
Might have been a figment of my imagination now that I think about it. But we decided.
Well, if you find her, bring her on the pod.
I should, yes. And about 30 more seconds, and you got to get out of here, go to CrossFit. That's and right. Look at that. We're an hour, 1 minute, and 23 seconds. Pretty good. Pretty good. But just in closing, the lady and I decided that because what? Because
this is the closing.
Yeah.
I feel like we should close on our theme of slice of friendship.
Sure, yeah. But I gotta get the thought out of my brain. Then we'll go to that. I said, we don't have to have a president on the bill because Ben Franklin wasn't a president. He's my uncle, Ben Franklin. Wouldn't that be cool? He's not. It's been a bit I've been doing since I was.
You said that like I would actually think he's your uncle. You're like, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, no.
Like, sorry, Becca, but he's actually.
I didn't mean to pull your leg right there. No, he's actually not. No. But then I was like, well, maybe we should have someone, of great, IQ, or like, someone with like big impression on the
big
world.
Brains.
Big brain man on the $200 bill. And we decided Neil deGrasse Tyson takes care of two problems. Man of color, awesome. But also, dude, good voice, and he's absolutely that, or Bill Nye. You got to get Bill Nye on there. Bill Nye the science guy.
You and the bank lady decided this.
Yeah, Bill Nye was just a thing I came up with on my own. But I think we rolled out Nixon because of the Watergate scandal.
Yeah. I think that's a big no.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, I was like, Neil, but he has the peace signs. It's perfect for thematics.
Unfortunately,
how many 100s is on a $200 bill? Nixon will show you. Two arms, and on each of those arms is two fingers. It's perfect. But then, Watergate.
Yeah.
God. Or Neil deGrasse Tyson. Whatever. It's fine. Well, Becca, thank you for coming in.
Wow, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it flew by.
It really did.
I knew it would. It's been a whole hour.
We should not talk to each other unless we're podcasting.
That feels like a pretty shaky business relationship to have.
Yeah,
but how are we gonna schedule podcasts? We're just gonna wind up in the library, or it's like I actually have my stuff with me. We should do it.
I guess. Yeah, I live down the street.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I live down Niagara Falls. I live in Niagara Falls, the Canada side.
Actually, Canadian.
Yeah, you wouldn't guess it. My accent is nowhere. I can blend in anywhere. That's right.
Sure.
Well, I do not have a sign off yet. Maybe
you just need. I'm telling you, jokes.
Yeah. I thought about doing this. My buddy Ethan and I we recorded an episode like probably back in March, I think, and he DM'd me the other day. He was like, "I noticed my episode's not coming up yet." I was like, "Yeah, beef," and I'm like, "No. I have to backlog them." And so this is officially, I think I'm going to kick us off as like the premiere of Almost Garage Season 2.
Yeah.
So that way next, so actually this episode will come out, I'm gonna have both episodes come out on the 15th.
Wow.
I'm declaring it right
You're
now.
gonna have 2
today
episodes.
Today is Cinco de Mayo for those who want to hear about the inner
Today's
workings.
the day we should have gone and gotten.
No, Mexican, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
true.
wow.
They're probably slammed right now. Point is, this is episode 1 of season 2, and then next, I'll probably release them the same day. Next episode is going to be season 2, episode 2. Ethan Retz.
Love it.
He's the guy.
Great guy.
He's the guy who,
Don't know him.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy.
Great guy. No, he's a great guy. He's the guy who is the son of the friend that knew the flat earther ankle guy with the peanut butter on the cheeseburger.
So will he have more info about the flat earther peanut butter?
Well, episode's already recorded, so no.
Darn.
I know, but I'm speaking out of tense here. But anyway, guys. Anyways, chat.
Anyway, come to CrossFit. Come to the Groggy Goat on May 16th. Tomorrow.
Shout out books.
Love books.
Happy May 15th, middle of the month.
Dude.
If you're graduating soon, have fun, make some memories. If you're one of the Beatles and happen to be dying soon, same thing applies.
Sorry.
Make some memories. This has been very fun, Becca. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm gonna press that red record button to stop the recording right about